What's the most extreme thing your mother made you do for beauty? My mother required me to get plastic surgery every year starting at 14 because she said I was so ugly that no man would want me, and she needed to sell me to a rich man to pay her gambling debts. My mother had destroyed her life playing high-stakes poker in underground clubs where they broke fingers for late payments. When I was 12, she brought me to a game as collateral and the men laughed at her. This is what you're offering? She looks like you beat her with the ugly stick. That's when she got the idea. She'd do whatever it took to fix my face and make me a useful product. When I turned 14, she decided it was time for me to start transforming from genetic waste into rich man material. The surgeon pulled up a photo of a young model on his computer, and my mother pointed at features like she was ordering from a menu. She decided she'd start with my nose this year and then move on to my lips, breasts, and upper arms when I was 15. When I begged her not to make me do this, she showed me photos of a girl whose mother had failed to pay her debts, missing fingers, burned skin, worse. That's our future if you don't cooperate, she said flatly. Every surgery was designed to erase another worthless part of my natural face. Mom would bring me back to the club periodically so the men there could see my progress. She said by the time I was 18, I'd be perfect, and they just needed to wait a little longer because I would be worth so much more than the money that she owed them. She kept photos of what I was supposed to look like taped to every mirror in our house. But no matter how many times I went under the knife, I never looked like the models and actresses she used for inspiration. I just looked like a disfigured, scary version of myself. The surgeries were slowly destroying me. My nose collapsed from too many procedures. The lip fillers migrated, creating lumps. The cheek implants got infected twice, but she didn't care about the pain or the damage. She only cared that I was becoming valuable enough to sell. David, the pharmaceutical executive who'd expressed interest in purchasing me once I was acceptable, monitored my progress eagerly. Which clinic performs these procedures? Are there other girls getting similar modifications? How many surgeries total? My mother loved that he was so invested in the process, and took it as proof that all her hard work would eventually pay off. One night before I was supposed to have yet another Brazilian butt lift, I couldn't take it anymore. I stole a scalpel from my mother's beauty toolkit and cut deep gashes across my face. If she wanted to sell perfection, I'd make myself worthless. Blood poured down my cheeks as I destroyed years of her work in a second. When she found me, she screamed like I'd murdered someone. The emergency room doctors were horrified when they saw me, both because of the cuts on my face and the obvious amount of plastic surgery I'd had at my age. They called social services while my mother ranted about destroyed property and broken contracts. A counselor sat with me as I explained everything through bandages, how my mother had gambled away our lives and sold my face to pay for it, how she'd already promised me to the highest bidder. For the first time in ages, I had hope that an adult was going to help me, and not just ruin my life even more. But to my horror, my mother showed up gleeful to my hospital room telling me that despite what I'd done, David was still interested in marrying me. I couldn't believe that a man who'd wanted a perfect wife so badly that he was willing to let a child undergo dozens of surgeries wasn't scared away by my new bloody face. But when she brought him to the room to see me, he just studied me thoughtfully. Then he said he needed to see all the documentation my mother had for what she'd had done on me already. Contracts, names of doctors, and all the other men who had put in bids for me. Mom was so desperate to make sure he was still interested in me that she gave it all to him immediately. David reviewed Mom's thick folder, and then said something that changed my life forever. Thanks, I have enough evidence now. Then he showed his FBI badge. He'd been undercover for 3 years infiltrating trafficking rings that sold modified teenagers. My mother had just handed him evidence of her own involvement as well as dozens of medical professionals and prospective buyers. Mom got 30 years in prison, and some of the doctors who operated on me got even more.